Um, as I laid in front of you, a sheet that shows that Council President, Higgendorn has resigned. So with no, Council President to lead, it's up to the recorder tonight, in essence, to ask the council to nominate someone to lead the rest of the meeting and then take the vote on that. So that having been said, I will accept nominations for me.
Councilor Weber, I would nominate Councilor DeForge.
Councilor Rosenthal, second.
Okay, any other nominations? Hearing none, I will close nominations. Council, please vote.
Aye.
Let the record show that council was unanimous in voting for Councilor Martin Forrest to take on this council elect president. I guess I don't, I'm certainly determined.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Now lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we do a roll call?
Council President DeFord.
Present.
Councilor Warrenton. Present. Councilor Weber.
Present.
Councilor Rustin.
Present.
And Councilor Ugarte. It's absent, right?
He's not here.
Not here.
Thank you. Now I'll move into the agenda. We are going to, what I would propose is that in the next 15 minutes, we agree on questions and we agree upon the process.
Tim, by chance, can I ask you to wait outside and I'll be out to see you in about 15 minutes? Thank you very much.
Okay. So the questions that we have before us were summarized by Ross based on our feedback. And at this point, we can open it up to discussions if we would like to modify these questions. I think the guidance from Ross is that we ask the exact same questions to the candidates. And I would suggest that the same person ask the same question. Rotate around. But that's getting into process, so let's focus on questions. Are there any immediate objections or suggestions, modifications to the questions?
Or assuming if Trista comes, there'd be 5 of us, so we could each ask 2.
We don't have to answer do all of these, we just pick one, is that true?
For starters.
What I would suggest is that we treat them exactly the same.
Sure.
So,
Each of us would pick a question to ask of each candidate.
yeah,
That's
that would be my suggestion.
It's 1 through 8.
Correct, we have 1 through 8 right now.
And if there's another question that isn't showing on this list, let's get it on.
Add it now.
Yeah. Sorry, Your Honor.
No, thank you.
Sorry, is number 5 a follow-up to number 4?
I couldn't tell, so I made it its own question because it could stand alone.
If you just remove the looking back, it'll be a good question.
Okay, so can I take that as a suggestion? We eliminate looking back?
Yes.
What do you believe was? Or, how about,
I think it's a follow-up question, right? So the first one is, tell us about time you inherited and worked for a significant blah, blah, blah. And this is just, it's sort of like a star situation, so what was the situation, what was the assessment, what was the action, and then what were the results, right? I mean, that's just, we're actually, number 4, we're asking them to frame, that's how we want them to frame the answer. It's a fairly standard interview.
So wouldn't it be really E in number 4 would be, how did you restore trust?
Yeah, number five would be E.
Okay,
Yeah, just make it E.
Okay,
How did you restore trust?
got that?
So number 4 is just a giant question.
Right.
Yes, we have one question for you in 72 parts.
to find the universe and get 3 answers.
Exactly.
But we're asking a couple.
Well, I mean, but isn't number 4, repetitive, number 6, 7, and 8? I mean, walk through significant involving staff, elected officials, give it, as opposed to number 6 is basically asking the exact same thing, right?
All I can say is different counselors send questions.
Right, yeah, no, I sent 6, 7, and 8, yeah, I know that. But I just want to make sure we're not asking them the same question more than once.
Well, let's start, if you don't mind me jumping in here.
Yeah,
Please.
Let's talk about number 1. What steps would you take to build positive relationship with council staff and the public? Who wants to ask that question? We wanted to start with Anna and work our way around or start.
Okay.
Yeah, is that right? So Anna's on. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, 2, what tangible wins could you deliver in the next 6 months? Don, feel comfortable with that?
Yeah, can I just expand on that a little? I mean, I would say, is there a better word than wins? What?
Hey, whatever you want to say, but just say it the
I'll
same way
take that.
both times.
Okay, Don's got 2, yes.
Okay. What
Councilor
can you do
DeForest.
to be successful?
Counselor Ugarte, yes.
Oh, she said
Since you are online.
Thank you. I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted to, one, ask, please make sure we're speaking into the mics very closely because it's a little hard to hear. 2, I also was curious if those lists of questions could be sent via email, as my understanding is that we would be able to meet virtually and/or in person for tonight's meeting. And then 3, just a heads up, the Zoom meeting link that was included in the agenda packet is not the correct meeting link. The only correct meeting link is the one that is on the city website on the calendar. So just in case we have other residents that are trying to access it right now, this might be a point of confusion for them. So I just want to make sure everyone has access to tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Counselor Ugarte. Would it be possible to email her these questions?
I don't have the tools to do that, I'm afraid. Wasn't prepared for that.
Well, let's see.
So, Counselor Ugarte, we apologize. We cannot email them to you right now, but we will.
Justin, yeah.
Jason,
Jason,
yeah,
sorry.
I'll type them and just email them to her.
Well, why don't, if she's okay, why don't we just assign her a question
Yeah.
4? And then it's all you have to do is.
You could even shoot her a photo.
What do you?
And I also just want to include, I'm so sorry, but I did send Mr. Schultz email letting him know that I would not be able to attend the full session as it's going past 7 p.m. and a prior commitment. So it's okay if I do not ask any questions. I'm going to be traveling, so I think it'll probably be best. So I just wanted to make you aware of that as well. So that is okay. I will sit out asking questions, but I just am having a hard time hearing, and if a visual
Well,
so everyone can hear it well, please. Thank you.
we will try and include you as much as possible, so not to exclude you from this process. We'll remember to speak into the microphones as loudly as we can. And Counselor Rustin, do you have like a plan B that you could text her a photo or something of the?
Counselor Warrington here. I think the suggestion was we just provide her one.
Provide
Like
her.
Number 3 would be hers. What do you need from us to be successful?
I thought she just said she doesn't need to ask the question,
Oh, okay.
right?
I didn't hear
I
that.
didn't hear it either.
Counselor Ugarte, we do have a potential question for you that you would like to, if you would like to ask. It's what do you need from us to be successful? It's a short question and we're welcome to share that question with you if you'd like.
Thank you, Counselor Ugarte here. I appreciate it. However, as I had mentioned, I previously emailed the city manager to let him know I would not be able to attend the full length of the meeting past about 6:45 p.m. So I think in the sake of everyone's interest, just leave me out of the question asking and I will chime in and raise my hand as needed.
Okay, thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
So question number 3 hasn't been assigned. Do you guys, can I take that one?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Okay. We have question number 4. Tell us about a time you inherited or worked through significant conflict involving staff, elected officials, and public. And there's some bullet points. What was happening? How did you assess the situation? What specific actions did you take? What was the outcome? And looking back, what would you believe is the most important factor in restoring trust? So that's,
Yeah, I can ask that, but again, I think that it is, 4, 6, and 7. Yeah, they're almost the same question.
Except for 7, I'll say 7 is a different narrative because there's some specific wording in there that.
Yeah. But I think number 8 is fairly similar to number 2.
True.
Okay,
So let's say why don't we scratch number 8?
should I go ahead and say, picture duration?
okay, so I've got a proposal to eliminate question number 8.
And probably question number 6 because it's similar enough, I think, to number 4 to capture the same information.
So, we've come back around, we've got 4 questions. And you would like to ask number 7, is that
I can, sure.
okay?
So, excuse me, Councilor Warrington is number 7. So, but let me just make sure with the group that eliminating questions 6 and 8 are okay.
Actually, I think number 6 is, on second thought, I think I would like to keep number 6 because it is specific to committees and boards.
Okay, so the proposal is now eliminate question 8 only.
Correct.
So I need Don, can I assign, excuse me, Councilor Weber, can I assign you question 6? Yes. Okay. And so question 8 is eliminated. So I think we've.
Could I ask you to ask a question, which I always like to hear? Why North Plains?
Is everyone okay with question 8 becoming why North Plains? Why do you want to work at North Plains?
Good.
Yes.
And then, after that, if you just say, any questions of us?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't have a person for question 8. Can I put that to you, Councilor Rustin? Okay.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir.
Did we get rid of it?
No, yeah, we got rid of 8,
We have a new gate.
We have a new number 8.
Which
I have.
why North Plains.
Okay, why North Plains?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then afterwards, I'll just ask if the
Well,
candidate has any questions for us, or
Okay,
Councilor Forge can.
you only have one question, don't you?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you're kind of the master of ceremonies tonight, so
That'd be you.
why don't you ask them if there's any questions?
Oh, okay, I asked, okay.
And then back.
Got it. And there's another thing I wanted to clarify is that we can ask follow-up questions. And what I would propose is that these are assigned, but anyone could ask a follow-up at any time. Is that okay with the group?
Yes.
Sure, just from a protocol standpoint, though, how do we, if we follow up, do I identify ourselves, or do we need to be recognized by the chair?
I think you can just ask your question.
Okay,
Probably identify yourself.
Yep,
okay.
So, Councilor Warrington here, do we have to ask the same follow-up questions to both?
that's a no.
No.
Good,
You don't
thank you.
have to.
Okay, so I think we've established our questions. We've established the process. Is there any questions about either the questions or the process?
Just a clarification, what are the timelines for each?
So 30 minutes, starting the questions, and if I'm gonna be keeping track, and at 25 minutes, I'll say, it's 25 minutes. And so wherever we're at, if we get to 30 minutes.
The first one starts right now.
Yeah, sitting out there 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I think we just keep track to be aware of the 30 minutes, whether we have it or.
He gets 10 minutes for his questions, and at 10 minutes, I'll say, I'm sorry, we're done, so I'll escort him out. And come back in 5 minutes later, we'll bring in the guys.
You good?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
And then we will go into an official council session where we will deliberate. And people will coalesce around candidate, there will be a motion. And that's how I envision we proceed. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
What happens if we have a tie? Because Councilor Ugarte can't be here till the very end. We could conceivably have a 2-2 tie. That's what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are ready to bring in our first candidate.
Great, thank you, council, I'll go get it.
Right on the way.
I'm sorry, I asked you to hold up, see well. And sorry.
This is, that's fine, I just figured it would walk in, so they have it.
I'm sorry,
I guess I got both the residents. Right, same here.
Actually,
It's like there's-
thank you.
Oh, boy. Exactly.
I think it's a little late for that.
That's a little. Now a bottle of water that was needed.
Welcome.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Good evening.
So just a quick overview of the process. We're going to ask you some questions. We're going to allow you some time to ask us some questions. And, yeah, that's oh, yeah. So, I'm interim council president, Mark DeForge. It's good to meet you. Councilor Rustin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Councilor Rustin.
Counselor Don Weber, welcome.
Counselor Anna Warrington.
And our amazing city manager, Ross Schultz.
That is our city recorder, Rich.
You're from Wilsonville, aren't you?
I live in Sherwood.
Sherwood.
Very nice. Small world.
In this profession, it is.
Yes.
I believe it. That's a. Counselor Warrington, would you like to kick us off with the first question?
Sure. We each have a few questions. We'll just kind of run through them. I think we have until 6:40, so that's, I think our interim is gonna be taking time for us.
Sorry, just for the record, should we have him state his name?
You should state your name for the record, please.
My name is Tim Johnson. My residence is South Beach, Oregon.
You have to push the button. We need to see a green thing there. It's a cordless there. There's a button on the back and then there's a green. And then.
Let's try this again. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm a resident of South Beach, Oregon.
Nice.
And if you don't mind, you're probably gonna have to figure out a way to get a little closer.
I will.
So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Counselor Warrington, did you ask the first question?
Sure. What steps would you take to build a positive relationship with council, staff, and the public?
You guys get right to the point.
Yeah.
Not why you're interested in this job, but
No,
okay, so listen. the bottom line is, when you've worked in public sector and managed for as many decades as I have, there is a series of methodologies that I use, and I use only. His is different than mine. I don't know how much different it will be. Let's check and see. First thing you do is you treat everybody with honesty, integrity, and dignity. Customer services are the order of the day, and I operate off of the specific, measurable, accountable, responsive, and time-bound process of management. Don't like it? Let's stop the interview and continue on, let the next person move on. I mean, that's the bottom line with me, and I've been here, I've been doing this for over 40 some odd years. And the success stories have ranged to everything from receiving presidential awards to national economic development programming and helping rebuild communities that have been impacted by natural disasters.
Thank you.
If you're with us 3-4 months as interim, now my understanding is, I don't know if it's okay to ask this, but would you be interested in being considered then for?
No.
So you're the interim, so you're here 3 or 4 months, what kind of positives would you hope to deliver?
Well, first of all, I don't think you can do this in 3 to 4 months. And if that's what you're gonna put me under, then I'm gonna have some serious questions about that. I just got done with literally less than 90 days ago with Mountain Free Water. Now, I signed a contract with them and I can give you exactly what I did and how I did it, scope of work. I brought some material with you because it is actually their work program that I got them focused on, and I can give it to you. But it literally takes about 6 months to be able to put all this together. And I asked Ross earlier, I said, what is your intention on what is your number one goal? If it is, the number one goal is to get you a full-time city manager, then the question is, how are you going to do that? Do you want me to do that, or do you want somebody from the outside to do it? If in the case of somebody from the outside, it's going to take you a while to go through that review. And those reviews are going to be substantiated based upon the way that their methodology to approaching hiring a city manager goes. Now, there are very few companies that will probably talk to you. There's probably maybe 3 or 4. There's 10 or 12 in the nation that are really good, but I don't think you could afford them. And I know that you couldn't get it done with them in 6 months. I had to push the firm that we hired in Milton Free Water, and Milton Free Water City Council wanted a hybrid type of program. That's difficult. Could get it done. We did get it done. And I went out because I've got 40 plus years in this profession. I went out and did the recruitment as well. I take you to League of Oregon Cities meetings. I may take you to other meetings where there are young professionals who are working their way up to either be a city manager or change a position as a city manager from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I let you have impromptu conversations with potential candidates. It's the best way to do it. You know what the personality of this organization in this city is. I don't. But you can find out real quickly who you want to interview. Well, let me just tell you something. You get 20 candidates who look like they can fit your community's personality characteristics. You've got a successful situation on your hands. Jason, what you then subsequently have is a lot of choices, a lot of very good choices, highly well thought of professionals that can do this job for you and everything that you want. Now, I suggest to you that that's a way to perform this activity. I'm not suggesting that I'm not trying to change your opinion. Maybe you know exactly how you want to go about doing it. But let's do me a favor. I've done this too long, and so has Rob. That's awfully quick. 4 months, 3 to 4 months. That means we have to have somebody in place probably by September. I don't know how much you know about recruitment in the public sector. It happens twice a year. You've missed the wave. It should have started, your advertisement should have started in August. Because what people are doing is dictating if they're married and have kids. Those kids are already getting ready to head to school. So the chances are you getting somebody who is really good to pack up their kids and move here is pretty slim. The next opportunity and timeline happens after either mid-year fiscal year or what we call the holiday and New Year's. And those are the two areas that you get it. Otherwise, you're gonna be hung out to dry for a long time.
So you're comfortable if we're doing 6 months, you're comfortable being here?
I can certainly try to do that for you. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, very good.
I didn't get up and leave Milton Freewater. They had everything ready to go, everything. I walked out the door, they had done their interviews. They knew who they were going to select. They did select them. They didn't need me to do negotiation of contracts. That's between the mayor, council, and the candidate. I didn't need to be a part of that. So everything worked out perfect.
Okay, thank you, sir. What do you need from us to be successful?
I was gonna ask you the same question. What does success look like? In this particular case, I mean, honestly, I'm an old goat. I won't deny that. So one of the things that's really important for me is what you're up against right now. And that is, we have a fiduciary responsibility, not only to the people of the city, but to the state of Oregon as it pertains to your budget and its audited books. So, number one issue ought to be getting you a full-time city manager. Second thing, ought to make sure that those books and audits are being completed and taken care of, and that we can reconcile those as each one is completed. I've already been down this path. If you want to look at anything that I had to do in Lincoln County, let's see, none of the council, none of the commissioners that are there that hired me are gonna be around after this election, and two have already left because they had problems with their budgets. They had problems with their books. And look, I'm not a CPA, but if I can come in and within less than 30 days find that there's $4 million missing on the books, and I need to know where in the hell it went and found it, that subsequently led to not only significant adverse findings, but also a variety of other statements made by our CPAs. And by the way, I had to fire a CPA in order to get the work done and completed, and I have no hesitation doing that. And if you don't know much about the budgeting process, I ask you to read ORS 294 and become extremely familiar with that. In fact, every Oregonian ought to take a time. I think that every Oregonian should read ORS 294. Because it'll help us understand how we as cities and counties, special districts, must fulfill the requirements of our budget and our financial wherewithal. Hey, I don't think any of you would look good in orange. And there is a fiduciary responsibility under 294 that mayors, city councils, county commissioners are responsible for the budgets and the finances. I take it very seriously, very, very serious.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Rustin?
Sure. Thank you, Tim. So you had talked earlier about building relationships. I was just wondering if you could walk me through a time that you inherited, or you had, a specific example of when you had to work through a conflict, let's say, a significant conflict involving staff, officials, and the post.
Say that one more time. I had to hold
Yeah, sorry.
public officials.
No, could you walk me through a time where you had to navigate significant conflict involving staff, the public, and elected officials?
That's almost a daily event in today's world since COVID. And I don't, life as a public administrator has changed dramatically since 2021. But before then, I think a variety of issues, controversial issues, are really related around development. Staff is going one direction, community is going another. City councils are torn between public policy and demands on a variety of different accounts, illustrated by their constituents. But what I like to talk to you about at length that dealt with my time in the city manager's office in Sacramento. And we had an area of town, it's bigger than Hillsborough. It's called Natomas, Natomas, and there was a north and there was a south. And it's divided by Interstate 5. And in that area, there was going to be well over 100,000 new population from 1980 through 1993. Staggering. And the question really revolved around this property was what would be developed. And at the same time it would be developed, the federal government would come in and say, it is in 100-year floodplain. And the questions that then started to arise amongst those that wanted it developed and were making the investment, and those that were community residents that had already paid for and had their homes built, and those that were pending and saying, what is the future of this area? And did we just build in some place that we can't afford to build it? It's too expensive, it's wrong, we shouldn't have done it. The controversy continued for years until said time that there became an agreement between both the city of Sacramento, Sacramento County, and the federal government and the irrigation districts to broaden and expand the levee system along the Sacramento and Feather Rivers. Those were not considered as a part of any future DDA, Development Disposition Agreement, when this began. And it took a decade or more to do this. At the same time that this all occurred, a flood happened in 1986. That flood constituted a major evacuation of the northern part of Sacramento and was a foot from the levee on the base of the Capitol Mall from going over into the levee and up in towards the Capitol building. And it really constituted a lot of constituents saying, we told you so, we need to resolve this before we do anything further. If in fact, and I was in the city manager's office, but I was not city manager at that time. I believe that if we'd listened more closely to our constituents, even though the pressure was on us to build, I think we would have done a far, far better job for the community. And may I add something? As you know, Sacramento has a basketball team, an NBA basketball team. And they built the first arena in this area. So the NBA was, how could I should say, a stakeholder in this discussion too as well. So if you want to know what the pressure cooker was like at that particular time in the 1980s and early 1990s, it wasn't a wonderful place to work, but you had to come to solutions. You had to work together. There's no solutions, there's no panacea, because each one of these are different. But it gives you an example of the magnitude of the size and scale of what I was involved with. I'm not sure that that's the same thing here. However, I think the heartfelt concerns are exactly the same. So as an interim, I have to take that under consideration. And that's the reason why I told you, you treat everybody with honesty, integrity, and dignity as you go through this process.
Yep.
By the way, it's all built out now and everything is taken care of. And those days of animosity towards different parties are gone and disappeared,
And no more floods.
and no more floods.
Very nice. I believe the next question goes to Counselor Weber.
Yeah, do you have any example, in a board or, one of the commissions of the board? In our case, we have an economic commission, planning commission, parks board, where they have, stalled or struggled, not having perhaps enough direction. And what do you do with those structures to keep them kind of empowered and moving forward?
Yeah, very good question. And so this is the reason why, no matter how big the city, your different departments or divisions need work programs. Really need to understand what they're trying to accomplish and work with you on an annualized basis as it relates to budget. Now, I recognize you have a biennium, but that makes no difference to me. They should be up before you, making sure that the direction that they're headed fulfills the requirements of the mayor and council, that you are in concurrence with that direction, that there is a framework for which them to work within, that they have the necessary or can find the necessary budgetary resources to carry that out, and the expertise necessary to achieve that. So, and I think that's where they fumble sometimes. And then there can be, the larger questions at hand, like where are you gonna get the necessary water? Just for sustaining what you've got. Right now, in Eastern Oregon, I came from a county where they're one of the three that are in a state drought area. And they have a really tough time, and just fighting fires right now up in Eastern Oregon is difficult in those three counties because there isn't the resources. What's the difference between putting out a fire and utilizing water to do that as versus, we don't have enough water even for essential purposes. So these are questions that, even as an interim city manager, you have to be really well versed on in order to help support your mayor and city council during these times of, I think, different activities that you might not think you would come across.
Counselor Warrington, I have you for the next question.
This one is a little tough too. Can you tell us a time that you had to communicate with an organization that's hostile, not within the city, and it was driving the public story on an issue? How would you manage a hostile outside communication?
Well, you've got one going on in Portland right now, don't you? With the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of that work, and if you look at it, when I was in the city manager's office in San Diego, we hosted not one, but 2 Super Bowls. And the question really became is it worthy of the investment to put on or help present a Super Bowl with all the publicity against the concept of the issues trying to help the mayor and city council's constituents who are impacted by maybe possibly what could be construed as a lack of city services and the need for substitution. You take money away from essential city services to make sure that the potholes are filled, the garbage gets picked up, or are you gonna use that money instead for the Super Bowl? That's a tough question. That's the reason why you folks get paid the big money.
We've got, excuse me, we've got 5 minutes left for his questions.
Thank you, did you want to ask us any questions?
Yeah, so what does success look like here for an interim?
Does any counselor want to raise their hand and take that?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at it. I mean, just for me, Counselor Rustin, and by the way, I've been on council for all of 6 weeks.
Welcome on board.
Yeah, it's great. I would say that, for me, what we need in the, from whoever the interim is I think it, lines up very specifically what you said, which is we need to plan and onboard a full-time city manager. That's got to be the number one goal. We have to continue to move forward on the audits. As you probably know, North Plains is behind on the audits. We just, had one completed, and we've got a timeline, but if there's a way for us to go ahead and escalate that timeline, get that done to make sure that, the books are in order, it's two. And then I would say number three, it goes to the question that, Councilor Warrington asked, which is, we've got some very vocal factions here, and how do we go ahead and tamp down maybe on the, animosity, that, we're hearing, and being able to communicate, what's actually happening in the city, and, start building a coalition as opposed to everyone being, screaming memes at each other. So for me, that would be it.
Okay, Counselor Weber, I think the other success thing for me would be somebody like you coming in very quickly, assessing where are the things like, well, it looks like maybe the library is doing well. Public Works needs some immediate attention. I'm gonna find some other help for them. The planning department, they need something. So very quickly, making sure that the city is stable. We've had a large change in staffing. So really success would be making sure the city is being well run, figuring out where attention is needed, where it's not needed, and filling any holes, bringing in people to help in those areas, which you have a large background in that, which is excellent. But, yeah.
Counselor Warrington, do you want to add anything?
Clearly you're good at your job. Clearly you know what to do. I think the number one thing you said is what we need is the honesty, the integrity, and the dignity. That's what we need.
Russ, do we have time for more questions?
Yes, he's on his questions now, so we've got another 10 minutes.
Okay, what other questions can we answer from?
Do you do a state of the city?
We have not this year.
You have before, however. Is that what I'm understanding or hearing?
Previously, the mayors have done that. The mayor this year did not.
Okay. Is there a thought to do one in the future? Like I would suspect after the first of the year?
I think that's a great idea.
Do you do and I know Moreno and Associates, and I worked with Rob before he retired, and tremendous firm. I can't speak highly enough of them, use them extensively, so I applaud you for the use of that firm. I think you will be well suited, and you should utilize them as much as you can, but do you have them, or have you done a mid-year financial review so you know? I guess it would be a quarter of, well, now you would be
We're halfway through the biennium.
halfway through the biennium, so do you look at that? Do you spend time understanding that, where you need to make balances, where you need to make adjustments in accordance with your budget? Because let me just share this with you. I haven't done a full forensic review on what you've done, because I can't tell, because I can't reconcile your budget. I can't do a trial balance and reconcile it against your audit, because your audit's so old that I can't do it. Well, I could do it, but you're not paying me for that, and it would take me months to figure it out. I could get to it. And that's what I did in Lincoln County. But they were paying me to do that. Now I come to you beforehand just to tell you that I could do that, but Moreno should be able to tell you that. Now, when I look at something and I analyze your budget, let's take 1 year of your biennium. Have you looked at what the total cost of your safety, public safety budget is and how it impacts your overall budget? So when you tell me we need to go out and get other experts to be able to answer specified questions for the community, I'll question you till the cows come home. Do you even have the money? Now let me just share something with you. I've worked with sheriffs and they're put in one of the toughest fiscal issues in this state, if in any state in the nation. And I don't know, Counselor, you're welcome to this council. You probably don't know this. But sheriffs in this state have to calculate how they pay for jail space. They don't get to come back to the cities and ask for help and assistance like they do in other states. They have to pick up the full load. So if I told all of you, okay, we're gonna go out and arrest 125 people tonight, the sheriff's gonna look at you and say, what are you talking about? I don't have the space for that. He didn't have the budget either. So when you see his budget increasing, he's having to make an incredible adjustment. Good guy. Questions is, have you looked at other means to be able to offset those costs under state law to help reduce your burden on your budget, but at the same time, be able to fulfill the increasing cost associated with law enforcement? And while I tell you that, I asked Ross this question and he didn't have an answer for me and I can't find it in your budget. Do you have a local gas tax?
Yes, we do.
You do. Okay. So you know how long it takes in the arrears for that to manifest itself in your budget, right? It's just not automatic. It's not every month that it comes in. You'll see an increase. So you know what just happened to all of us. In February, with whatever this conflict is with Iran, our prices of gas went up. Have you gotten from Moreno and Associates a forecasted increased revenue so that you understand how that is going to impact your budget?
Thank you, but let me just pause for a second. I see a question from Councilor Ugarte. Councilor Ugarte.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for being here. My name is Trista Ugarte. I'm one of the city councilors here. I wanted to ask a couple of questions and I apologize because I'm having some connectivity issues while I'm traveling. So I apologize if this has already been asked. But I wanted to, just touch on a couple of things. During a quick Google search of your name, there were a few articles that popped up I'm sure you're familiar with regarding a sudden resignation in Lincoln County last year. And I was just hoping you could provide some context, as I know there's always two sides to every story.
Thank you. There was no sudden resignation. It was planned. I was the primary caregiver of a 101-year-old mother. She passed away. They knew that when they hired me. I was the first county administrator, 132-year history of that county. But I told them, I said, I'm leaving Seattle and coming here. And I said, I'm ready to retire. I said, I've got my mother that I need to take care of. Now, I said, I'll be more than happy to help you. Because at that point, they needed major capital improvement assistance. They have a courthouse that in 2007, they had an engineering study that said it would pancake with nothing less than a 5.6 on the Richter scale earthquake. 2, they needed a new animal shelter that had been impacted by black mold that they couldn't solve, and the animals were so sick they couldn't take them anymore. And the third element was they had just a sad, old, blighted fairgrounds facility that they had been collecting revenue on from an increase in lodging tax since 2016. And they had not done anything for 6 to 7 years. So in less than 180 days, I gave them the financial capital improvement plans, how to do all three without increasing any taxes on residents of Lincoln County. They knew I was gonna leave. So there was no issue associated with that. It got somebody some headlines somewhere. But, you know, if you go back and I ask you to read in the Newport newspaper, the first day that I showed up for work, I told them, I said, I'm taking care of, at that time, a 98-year-old mother. And I said, well, she's living with me and she's my responsibility. That's it in a nutshell.
Excuse me, we have about 3 minutes left, so any final questions from you, Tim? Council?
No, I just think I'd like to talk to you more about these things. The only issue that I have is, you know, again, is your financials. I think the other things can easily be handled. And I don't want to make light of anything. I know it's very important to all of you. But if you don't, and I don't know when you went to city managers college, but I went to it in 1981. And those were the days where we had to fly back, you might recall, to Columbus, Ohio, and we had to go to school there because there was no such thing as going to school online. So you had to take time, you had to take your vacation time to go back and do this. I think the thing that's important for you to understand about what we're dealing with here is that I don't know who told me this, but it's resonated with me from day one. When you have a good budget, you have a good city. When you don't have a good budget, you don't have a good city. And I like to see smiles on the faces of mayors and city councils because we've got a good budget and they can do the things that they want to do, you want to do, when you were otherwise not able to do it because of not having a good budget. If you don't believe me, I asked you to call the mayor, council president, Milton Freewater. I got them a budget that they couldn't even fathom. And I just want to conclude by saying this. I got hit the ground running, sat with the community extensively, but listened to staff. They needed extensive amount of funding, capital improvement. And because of my years of experience, I knew just exactly where to find it for them. Within 90 days of my arrival, we wrote over $20 million in grants. The next 90 days, 4.5 million had already shown up and it continues to show up. They're so busy now at Milton Freewater, they don't know what to do because all of a sudden, the things that the community had been wanting for 10 to 20 years is finally coming to fruition. Yeah, I'm gone, but I showed them how to do it. And if I could, I know I need to leave. I'd like to leave this for you, and I hope the council member that's on online can get a copy of this. There's 10 copies of that for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Okay.
Okay,
Sir, appreciate your time.
Done.
thank you.
Very good one. That would be the time. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, we've got 5 minutes before I go out and get our next candidate. Anything we need to change or look at? Everything go okay there?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
What do you think?
talk about the candidate after we talk to the next candidate. So,
Yeah.
I think we gave him enough time to respond, which was key.
Yes, I think so.
That's the
Yeah.
key. Yes.
He had about 13 and 14 minutes.
Yeah.
A lot. So.
I don't think we got to number 8, Wayne North Plains, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't get to all, you
Yeah.
try. Well, if everybody's ready, I think Paul's here, I'm gonna go out and see if I can. Okay, and we'll just get going, let's just sit out there. Okay. For the, Right, yeah, I'm one. I like this stuff a lot better. That was a great answer. I never saw you very much today.
Right.
Invite.
Saw your face or something.
I make back.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Counselor, this is Paul Cook.
Hello, Mr.
Welcome,
Cook.
Paul.
It's a little cooler in here.
There was a nice breeze out there.
Oh, we
Paul. Nice to meet you.
Oh, Jason.
Jason, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Wherever I saw you outside.
Anna, Morgan, nice to meet you.
You're yes, sir. Right there behind that pine.
Careful of the cords, sure, take those down.
Your microphone should be on, just make sure you're close to it when you're speaking for our online audience.
I'm not very technically skilled, but it has a green light on.
I think you're in
Yes.
good shape. You're in good
Super
shape.
good.
Okay, so Counselor Warrington, can you kick us off with your first question?
Yeah,
If I may, before you get going. Paul, we're gonna spend about 30 minutes on questions and answers. I'm gonna say something in about 25 minutes to wrap up that. And then, you'll have 10 minutes to ask us questions and,
No hook.
well, at 40 minutes.
It's okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
or an ejection button,
Yeah.
whichever you prefer. Okay, so my first question for you, Mr. Cook, thank you for coming here and sitting outside in our weather. It is much cooler in here. We have kind of a divided town, so can you tell us what steps you would take to build a positive relationship with the council, the staff, and the public? How do you do that?
Well, as you probably saw from my resume, I've been doing this for 30 years. And I figured out that the biggest job that I can do is listen. So I would probably take the first 2 weeks of interviewing people in the community, on the council, on the staff, on your committees, listening to them, and then would propose an action for the council to begin bringing everybody together to deal with the issues that are identified.
I love a good action plan. Thank you.
Hey, Counselor Weber.
What sort of positives would you hope to accomplish in your next, whatever, 3-6 months here?
That's really a good question. Because I approach this the way that I do, I would be very open and honest with the council that what we need to do, and it's a we, what we need to do together is to build a team that works for the community, resolves issues, and moves into the future.
What do you need from us to be successful?
I need you to be open, honest, brutally honest, about what it is you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. So that together with staff, community and council, you can create a 5 to 7 year action plan and budget. And yes, you can do a 5-year budget. We've done that. So those all have to fit together. And that's what you're responsible for in this community.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Ruskin?
Sure. Hi. So just building on Councilor Warrington's question, could you? Sorry, someone talking? Okay, thanks. There's a bit of divide going on here in North Plains. So I was wondering if you could walk me through like just an example of when you had to navigate a situation, sort of what we're in, where you've got outside interests, you've got some very vocal opinions as to what should go on. We've had some turnover and turmoil with staff and with council, and so you just give me an example of have you been in a situation like that before? How did you manage it, and what were the takeaways?
Your situation is not unusual in the 70-some cities and counties that I have worked for on an interim basis. I've been in situations where, and this is not to cast aspersions to your police department, it did not happen in this town, but where the chief of police was collecting $300 a month from all of the local businesses for police protection. The mayor knew this, the council knew that. They had me bring everybody together to resolve it. It was not an easy thing. It was very difficult. They actually had to wrestle the chief to the ground because he had his gun out and he was going to take care of that guy. So those things happen. Part of the value of having an interim is that you can throw the interim under the bus time and time again over issues that have to be resolved. But if you do it by yourself, you face possible recall, you might get fired. A number of city managers I've worked for knew what the issue was, but they were afraid to touch it because they wanted their job. And I could tell you hundreds of stories that it would curl your hair, but that's what I do for a living. Was that responsive to your question?
No, I was just wondering if you could, I was really looking more for like is there a methodology? Is there a general approach? And the reason I'd ask for an example is like, okay, what's the situation? Then what did you specifically do? Okay, so you had in your example, it was you had the sheriff who was apparently the mob, right? I mean, because that's what they do, right? If you're extorting money. I mean, how did you approach what did you specifically do in that situation?
So that's how I got to a kind of a standard approach that you have to agree with if you were to hire me, because I can't. I work for you, you don't work for me. But what I usually do is I go in for a couple of weeks and I talk to a lot of people and I listen. I'll meet with all the employees, I'll meet with all the council members, I'll meet with members in the community and try to figure out what's going on, where are people. Then I would ask the council to hold a community workshop where, and you got plenty of walls to do it, where we put newsprint up and you tell us with your staff there and members of the community, what are the issues that need to be resolved and worked on? And that's where you're going to end up with 5 years worth of budgeted work that needs to be done. Because this stuff does not get resolved overnight. It takes time. Another example I'll give you, I worked in a town where they had, the council members were recalled. There were threatened lawsuits. They closed down the fire department over this issue. So of course, when you bring in the outsider, you say, what's your number one priority? We need a fire department. That's what we worked on. We created the fire department. And I had the council create a 17-member committee to work with me to come back with a plan that the community could buy into and be willing to pay for a fire department. At the beginning of those sessions, the negative and the positive were on two different edges of that table. By the time we came to the end, they were sitting together, leading the rest of the group to a solution that the community bought into, and they have one of the best fire and rescue departments in the gorge today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor Weber, I believe you're up next.
One of the issues in our city is just dealing with the whole fiduciary issue, getting caught up in some audits, continuing to improve our budget process. Do you have any strategies in that whole budget area where you help cities deal with do well in the whole budget fiduciary?
Councilman, I'm going to say about half of the cities that I got called into were behind on their audits. And for some reason, Oregon is fairly lax and easy to work with. You got to have the contacts to know to give you time to do that. You hire an auditor and you turn them loose and you just pump those things out until you're caught up. And then never, ever get behind again.
Counselor Warrington.
Usually I would say this is a hard question, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna be for you. Can you tell me, how you dealt with outside hostile community or groups that they're not members of our community or our city, but they have a big influence and, is tearing things apart? Can you tell us how you would deal with that?
My approach would be you go and meet with their leaders and open up some discussion. And you do that by having your port commissioner or the county commissioner or the mayor or the appointed council member with you. So you begin to develop a relationship and start talking to each other and listening carefully. And over time, that relationship begins to turn into almost a friendship, where you can then call each other on the phone and say, hey, we have this issue. We had an issue in Cascade Locks when I was there. The Treaty of 1850 gave the Warm Springs Indian Nation eternal access to fishing rights, hunting rights, and picking berries along the Columbia River forever. When I came in, the Port Commission, who owned the park that they would access, had no policy, no contacts. So I took the Board Commission chairman and we drove down to Warm Springs and we met with the president of the Warm Springs Reservation. The next month, he invited us in to talk to the whole board. And 3 months later, they had free open access as they were allowed under the Treaty of 1850. That opened the door. We solved that. So we opened the door for other things. So you get a fish market that comes in. You start working together. You put them on some of your committees. And that relationship grows and develops. When we needed $2.4 million at the Port of Cascade Locks, we took the chairman of Warm Springs with us, and he was our biggest salesman. And I think that's how you do it.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Rustin, I believe you're next.
Sure. Why would you want to do this and why North Plains?
My wife asks me that question a lot. I left being a full-time city manager in a city after 3 years because it didn't feel right. And I prayed a lot and I talked to people and I realized that staying somewhere for 30 years and then retiring was not why I was put here. I was put here to help local governments primarily. I've done some nonprofits too, but help primarily local governments get properly organized, planned, and begin working toward a successful future for their community. So it's my commitment is to make city government the best possible government it could be.
Counselor Ugarte, I want to check in with you and see if you have a question.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good evening. My name is Trista Ugarte. I wanted to just be transparent about this word in our community lately, and sounds like you have quite a history of going into cities that have some opportunities, and you have seemingly successfully turned around a ship. And I wanted to make sure that you are aware in this position as an interim city manager, as I'm sure Ross can probably allude to, you are wearing many, many hats, especially right now as we go through some staffing challenges. So I just wanted to make sure that we're transparent with you to help make you potentially successful, and see if there would be any support needed from us, knowing that you would potentially be wearing a lot of hats.
No, I understand what you mean when you say a lot of hats. There's a lot of things that are done in cities that most people don't recognize. Building a successful staff team. And again, I'll give you another example. I was in one city in Washington 2 times. I broke my rule. I promised I'd never go back. But I did go back because they were wonderful people and they had great potential. The finance director, not to speak ill of finance directors, the finance director did everything. The department heads didn't have to worry about doing anything. So the number one responsibility given to me by that mayor was to build a staff team and give the department heads their rightful authority and responsibility. And frankly, that was very difficult because we see this with our kids. If we don't give the kids the right direction and the right discipline, they grow up not able to do a lot of things. So I had to spend a lot of time with each department head in each department and teach them how to write a staff report, how to research, how to be a part of the team. We even created a management team that met weekly with the mayor so that they could all start working together and work those things out. And frankly, the finance director didn't want to give up any power. So there was a difficulty there. So we rewrote her job description and gave her another duty.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Ross, I believe we've completed all of our questions. So can we go to
Questions for us?
what questions do you have for us?
I really only have one, and I've asked this of every city council, at school board and county commission that I've worked for, is are you ready to hear what you don't want to hear and take positive action to correct it and move toward the future?
Councilor Warrington, I'm gonna say yes, as long as you don't hit us with a stick, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't carry any weapons.
We are, I can speak for most of the, I'm not supposed to speak for the rest of the team. I can say for myself that, I'm here to help. I want the city to grow. I want the city to be, prosperous. I want our budgets to be done, and the audits, all of the things we've been talking about are high on the list. And I am here to help you or the next city manager do that.
This is a real critical issue for me. I had to sit with a port commission after the first 6 months and tell them, out of your 21 employees, 20 of them have never worked for 2 or 3 years and don't have the ability to do what you say you want to do. So I was able to transition out 20 of their 21 employees, and not a one sued us. Because when I met with them, this was always surprising to me. Yeah, I haven't done anything for years here. It's time for me to move on. Or, yeah, I'm leaving. You give me a letter of recommendation. No lawsuits whatsoever. People know when they're not doing the job, and it becomes incumbent upon the electeds. In this case, it was the Port Commission to call that out. Our employees in public are not doing what needs to be done. Here's our goals and objectives. Here's our plan. They can't do it. We're going to have to make some changes.
Very interesting.
I'm not saying you need that here, but that's part of, you need to be ready to hear what you don't want to hear and then do something about it.
Councilor Ruston or Councilor Weber, do you want to elaborate on Councilor Warrington's answer?
No, I have teenagers. I hear things I don't want to hear all the time.
There you go.
Right,
That's it.
so, no, I think that, we're all volunteers here.
Yes.
I don't think there's anyone on the council that doesn't, have the best interest at heart, for North Plains. I think that, currently there are a lot of questions as to what that is. What that means and, how do we get there? I think that that's where a lot of the rub is. But no, I'm perfectly comfortable hearing whatever you think was important for us to know. I think that's an important part of the city manager. I wasn't here with when the last city manager was here, our last full time, so I don't know what it was like working in that environment, but I think a little stability would be great.
Right.
Thank you. So Councilor Weber, are you ready to go next? And then I notice Councilor Ugarte, if you would like to answer after Councilor Weber.
I would certainly welcome that approach, and, of course, I mean, we're gonna say we would welcome that, and the test would be how we would perform in that, but I think conceptually, I would very much like the approach you're talking about, so, thank you.
Councilor Ugarte, would you like to answer?
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. I actually really appreciate this question that you're asking us. I think it's very insightful and on point to some of the issues that we are facing within the city. And I welcome that. I think just you asking this question during an interview already shows that you're prepared and ready to have those tough conversations. And that's honestly, where we grow as a council and as a community. So for me, yes, I wholeheartedly am open to your feedback, good, bad, or ugly, if elected to this or chosen for this position.
Yes. So I will echo what people have said. I think we're open to feedback. Everything's an opportunity to improve and get better. I'd like to see the staff supported and see us move forward with improving our finances in terms of audits, and moving things along that benefit the community. So any thoughts that you have about that are appreciated, I think, pretty much by everyone. Checking in with Mr. Schultz. So would you like to ask us more questions?
No, I just want to make a comment,
Yes,
and again, fortunately, I learned this over these 30 years. I know nothing about what goes on in North Plains. I do know there's a place here that has a great cheeseburger. Oh, if I'm hired, I'm going to be going back there. That was good. I purposely do not research the places that I might go to, because I'm afraid that might prejudice me. So when you hire me, my information is gonna start coming out of the interviews and the talking and the research that I do when I'm on the ground in your community.
That's interesting.
Any other questions? Paul, anything else?
No, I do not. I appreciate it very much, the time you've given me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and good luck to you.
Thank you.
You have a great community. I was telling the counselor here, I haven't been here since 73. This is a marvelous town
Oh, nice.
and it's worth every bit of your energy and commitment. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. These are photo thinking session.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe you're
Mr. Schultz, I believe that we are, let's see here, ahead of schedule.
We are ahead of schedule. We're still in a work session. I think it's still appropriate that we can discuss anything we want to discuss regarding the two candidates we saw.
Okay,
Open session will be for any type of resolutions we need to come up with. We need
okay, sounds good. So we're in work session. We can discuss the candidates. We won't make the decision in work session. Does anyone have any comments?
Should we talk about each candidate individually, their strengths and pros and cons, or strengths and weaknesses, or just what we think about each one?
I am open to feedback. Mr. Schultz, did you want to?
Yeah,
Toss it up.
I've seen this go a couple of ways where the counselors sit down and everybody scores both candidates, like 1 through 5. D, good here, bad here, whatever. I really think it's more useful for each of the counselors to talk about both the candidates, how they compare, where your thoughts are. So with that.
Okay, so
Council President, Councilor, you're going to answer me.
Counselor Ugarte?
Well, she left.
Go ahead. I was just going to chime in with starting the dialogue regarding thoughts, but go ahead and continue what you're.
If you have a comment, please kick us off.
Okay, well, Counselor Ugarte, I just wanted to say I was really impressed with both candidates for showing up. I know sometimes North Plains is not always the closest city, and that they came in person was greatly appreciated. I really could sense that Mr. Johnson had a strong approach and felt very confident in making wise decisions for the city. I think my concern is partially just due to maybe that direct communication and ability or willingness to style flex. I just think about that as we have city staff hopefully being onboarded in the next few months and building that foundation. It was a little bit of a concern to me of unwillingness to not consider a different approach of this is my way, and if this isn't it, then don't even consider me for this position. So that kind of took me off guard. However, I again think that given the position, he could rise to the opportunity and be successful. For the second candidate, for Mr. Koch, I do think that he has a proven track record based on both the resume we saw and also just some of the anecdotes we heard from him tonight. And I think that he has, in my opinion, a very people first perspective. And I think that can go volumes both within our community and with city staff. And I think that is something that, we want to continue to foster within our city. I think the other part is, my take on Mr. Cook is that he was not steering away from those tough conversations, and I think that's the next step we really need for our city. So with that, thank you for letting me join, and I will pass it back.
Thank you, Councilor Ugarte. Looking around the floor to see if anyone wants to comment.
I'll just go.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Warrington.
Kind of impromptu because I don't have my thoughts all the way together, but, I guess I saw, Mr. Johnson as like a bull in a china shop. He would plow through, do his thing, and go out the back door with a plan in hand. He's very dedicated to the audit. He was very dedicated to finding a city manager with timelines that he thinks is correct. He's done a lot of stuff. It sounds like he does it well. I agree with, Councilor Ugarte that, he's, unwavering, so to speak. And maybe that's because he does his job very well. So he has some good and bad. Mr. Cook, has a completely different approach to come in, listen, and create a plan. Talk to all people involved, understand the situation, and try to make them get along. Or see their differences to where they can get along. He also talked about audit. He talked about a 5-year budget and an action plan to go with it. Talked about community workshops. And I like the fact that he hasn't retired because he just wants to keep helping city government work better. So I appreciate that. He also likes to be open and brutally honest, and I think we need that. So, the only thing I worry about a little bit about Mr. Cook is, does he have a thick enough skin? I don't know.
He did wrestle a sheriff.
Well, that is true.
Councilor Weber.
Yes, I thought both of them were very strong candidates. I would say the first, Tim was very, very strong, probably stronger than Paul on the whole financial piece, had a lot of energy for that. Gives a lot of energy to studying the numbers, deciphering them. I thought it was a positive that he had a relationship with Marina and spoke highly of them. So that was a very positive. But he obviously is a very strong personality, so I think that's the nervousness is with how would he respond to a contrary opinion or whatever, but he does have, both gentlemen have success stories where they've been. I do think some of what he brings is maybe the kind of person you want for a 3, 4, or 5 month. Maybe you wouldn't want that for a 5-year person, but his strength is we're gonna move fast and direct. I also liked what he said, moving very quickly on applying the monies, finding grants, have skills in that, bringing money into a city. I thought that was positive. I thought our second gentleman, Paul, I like the fact he's definitely felt like a gentler approach, but a listener, likes to talk to everybody, similar to our current person, Ross. Likes to just go directly to people when there's problems, put sites together, start with one. I think that's just a really good strategy. He's never afraid of just going to the people, bringing them into his office or going to where they live. I thought his strategy of bringing the sides together again, I was just, obviously, one of his really, really strong thing is relationship building, getting two sides to kind of get together. I don't think that would he would be probably, in my mind, stronger that Tim would take a more direct approach to doing that. Rather than, there's two ways to get there. One is a little more warm fuzzy, the other is just more direct. So I think strengths for both of them.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Ruskin?
Of the two, I'm not going to repeat what everyone else has said. Obviously, I think the difference in personalities were very much on display. What I would say though is sometimes your greatest strength is your greatest weakness too, when it's overused or misapplied. And I don't think that either is lacking in qualifications to do the job. I think both of them check whatever the boxes are that we would put up there with 30 and 40 years experience. I think my question is more about how well either candidate would integrate into North Plains and be able to effectively start building consensus, regarding, the budgets and all of that, I think both of them could do it. I will say that, Paul, I felt that when he answered questions, I thought it was a lot more clear as to what the answer was. I'll be honest with Tim, there were a couple of questions where I'm not entirely sure that we got the answer we were looking for. So I felt a little better about Paul's communication and just overall presentation.
Thank you, sir. I'm aligned with everything I've heard from you guys. Sounds like we have a pretty clear choice in personality approaches, and they're both very skilled people that I'm confident could do a good job. I think both would be excellent choices, and I think we just need to come to a conclusion about which personality is best fit for North Plains at this time. Let me do a quick time check here. So it's 7:17, so we're still in work session. We'll go into council where we can make decisions at 7:30. Is there additional conversation that you guys would like to have? You wanna?
Is it appropriate? We would ask if you have any feedback you would want to give us.
I mean, I don't want to prejudice you one way or another, because I think that you guys will need to talk to whoever becomes. And so it's more about how your style has been related to that style. Plus or minus, you can see how long each of them took. Is kind of one thing as a recruiter I look at, say, wow, well, one finished up and one was still going at the end of the clock. I think they both will do good work for you. It's just a matter of how that work is delivered and what's left when they. So I don't think you should vote or look right now until we get to open session, but those are kind of my takeaways.
We check in on Counselor Ugarte.
Not sure she said she had to go.
Thank you. I know I'm currently want to stay for the meeting and stay for the vote. So it sounds like everyone has kind of discussed their thoughts. I do know it sounds like we are missing a council member tonight. So I don't know if this is a proper procedure, but if I were to step away from the meeting to attend my other commitment, would that be an issue? Would you be able to call me if a tiebreaker is needed? I just want to throw that out there because I feel bad that I'm not able to stay, but I also want to be respectful of the process as well.
Thank you, Counselor Ugarte. My quick feedback is you are more than welcome to participate. We'd love to have your opinion but I think we can also be successful. So if you have an important commitment, please feel free to go ahead with it without any bad feelings from us. We have a quorum, we're in good shape. But again, we'd love to have you participate.
Councilor Warrington here. I just want to also call out that we do need a tiebreaker. Is it okay then to call you, Councilor Ugarte, for your tie-breaking vote?
Yes, and that's the part I wanted to be clear. I don't know if Emily is in attendance tonight, just to verify that portion. But yes, I am available for a phone call if needed, if that is within the realm of possibility.
Great, thank you.
We will do that. Thank you.
All right. Well,
Other-
with that, I'm gonna sign off, and if needed, please let me know. And I appreciate each one of you for your time tonight, and I will see you all soon.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's recess till 7:30, which time we'll go back if that's your wish.
Okay, so I'm going to adjourn the work session at 7:21 on August 20th.
Thank you.
No gavel? Right.
Was over there.
Is there a gavel?
Call the council back into order on August 20th, 7:30. We are now in open session where we can deliberate and make a decision on a new interim city manager. At this point, I would suggest and propose that based on our work session deliberations, that we start to align on a candidate. Does anyone have any suggestions? Or want to kick us off?
Sorry, so are we looking for a motion to?
No, I'm not looking for a motion yet. I'm looking to continue our deliberation. So we talked about the qualities of the candidates. And now we need to align on which particular candidate is the best fit for the city. And so I'd like to hear people's thoughts. And then I'm hoping that the conversation will align us to one candidate, and at which point we will make a motion. So I'm still looking for feedback from the council.
Okay, Councilor Rustin, I think that, at this point, North Plains needs someone who is going to, again, be able to build consensus. And I think that, Paul, from a standpoint of just personality and temperament from the short time I got to know him, I think that, that seems to be more of his natural wheelhouse. And I would feel comfortable moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Looking at Councilor Warrington or Councilor Weber.
Councilor Warrington. I think they both obviously have a lot of experience. And they have proven track records, just different paths on how to get there. And considering both of them and their medium on how to get the job done, I have to consider which one's going to be best for our little city, which one's gonna work best for everyone in this town, not just us, but everyone. So with that in mind, I think a softer approach, one that wants to build a plan after listening to everybody, wants to build a community, is the direction I think this town wanted to have. So I think I'm leaning towards Mr. Cook to do that.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Weber.
I thought were two very qualified candidates. But I think what I came back to, I think we've really been blessed, these last several weeks with Ross being with us. And his personality type and his approach. And I really felt like, Paul is much more that approach, and I think that has really worked well with the staff, with the council, that style. So I would think towards, yes, Paul.
Thank you, sir. And I know Counselor Ugarte said she was gonna drop up, but I just wanna survey Colleen. Can we see if Counselor Ugarte is on?
I don't see her.
Okay, thank you. I will align with the team that Paul is a good choice and I would support it. And I appreciate everything that Ross has done to bring us to this point. So it sounds like there's consensus on the council that we will proceed with an offer to Paul. So let me pause for a couple things here. I'd be looking for a motion, and then subsequent to that, I would recommend that we appoint 2 counselors to work with our city attorney so that you can provide feedback on compensation and benefits, so that we don't need to say in a public session, this is the amount we're going to approve, because that might impact our ability to negotiate with candidates. So let me just pause right here. Does that sound like a good process? Is everyone aligned with that?
Yes.
That's a legal process. It's all legal. Everything's all good with that. We don't have to.
Yeah, okay, so
No
let's,
disclosure
Look-
stuff.
well, let's talk about thank you. Let's talk about the next steps. So I imagine that there would be a special session next week where after the counselors and our attorney are negotiating contract, it comes back to the council for approval, and that will be public information at that point.
Understood.
Sorry, clarification, did we not disclose salary information when we were going through the?
After the negotiation. At the end, we do.
Okay,
But during the negotiation, you don't
Right.
say
Okay.
ahead of time.
so we're not,
It's in the-
it's just not an extension of the contract that, we
It's-
offered you.
Well, the benefits and salary will be in the contract, and that is open session. That you must pass that, so you're not hiding anything. It's just a do when you're negotiating with somebody and you say $100 and they say 110. The negotiator has no top or bottom. Unless you get into executive session and set those top and bottom. So having a subcommittee that says, gee, I think the council would pay 110, they won't pay 111.
Okay,
And you can still change it when it comes time to approve the contract. Say, hey, 110 is way too much, or something. But
yeah, I was just clarifying that, we hadn't already had preliminary conversations about compensation with either of the candidates.
Yeah, I think Counselor Warren, I think we did for the interim, but not the interim.
Gotcha. Okay,
Okay, so at this point, I believe a motion would be in order. And let me pause for a second. So Ross, what I would suggest, and I think we should discuss the motion and then we'll talk about how to get it across the finish line here, but the council authorizes the city attorney to negotiate with Paul Oak for the position of interim city manager.
yes. Sounds great.
Is there a timeline, Counselor Warren, is there a timeline that should be put on up to a year or something? I don't know. Is it just open-ended?
My recommendation is open, but I'm open to feedback. Okay. So,
Sorry, Counselor Warren.
no, go ahead.
It's open-ended until we find a city manager.
Correct. That's right. There would be a subsequent initiation of a recruitment process that would begin at a subsequent council meeting.
Check.
Okay, Councilor Rushton, but we're not guaranteeing a minimum term on this then.
No,
Okay.
that would be a negotiating point that I think would need to be discussed. Just off the top of my head, 30 days, was that, you need to give 30-day notice or something like that? Is that
Yeah,
typical in those contracts?
yeah, it is typical in the contract that there's a clause that breaks the contract, so mine was 10 days notice by either party would break the contract. So
Okay.
probably something like that, maybe 2 weeks is probably pretty reasonable.
Okay.
Okay, so is the council aligned on, we're aligned on our candidate? I've got the motion as, and Mr. Schultz, keep an eye on me as chair here. Are you okay with me reading the motion, or would you like someone else to make the motion?
No, sir, I think you can make the motion, so.
Okay, if everyone's okay with this, the motion is the council authorizes the city attorney to negotiate with Paul Cope for interim city manager. Do I have a second? Okay, no?
Second.
Okay, we have a second, and would you like to have a discussion, Councilor Weber?
My only question was, did we want to add, any members of the council to be with Emily?
That'll be a subsequent motion. Okay, we're taking it one at a time. Okay, very good. Okay, so I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any discussion you guys would like to have before we vote on this?
I'm good.
I'm looking for Councilor Ugarte, and I don't believe she's there, so I'm going to proceed. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. I'm going to go to discussion of the next motion. That was the idea that 2 council appointees are authorized to support our city attorney in the negotiation process.
What does that constitute?
It would be, I think the person is going to be Heather over at BEH. She's going to reach out to Paul. She's going to say, Paul wants this. The council appointees will say, that seems reasonable, or that seems unreasonable, and will provide her feedback. And based upon that feedback, a contract will be negotiated and then brought to the council future meeting for approval. So you don't have the authority to bind the council, but you have the authority to represent us with the best of information that you have so that we can make the negotiation as successful as possible.
So then this, Councilor Martin, so this council or subcommittee of 2 somehow negotiates it, we bring this back. The council here says, we want to change this, this, and this, whatever, then it goes kind of negotiated again, and then if perhaps, and then we vote it in.
I would think that the process is going to be Heather says, hey, council representatives, here's where I think we are. I think this request is unreasonable. Would you be okay if I pushed back on it? Or this was X dollars, and are you guys comfortable with it? And then I think based upon your feedback, it will come to the council in a special meeting. I expect that what you guys support will be what we approve. I don't think that there's going to be a subsequent negotiating process. I trust everyone here and our city attorney to be acting in our best interest and will do their best job possible. And I trust that Paul will be a vigorous advocate for himself, but also is very knowledgeable about how these things work out. And we're going to get a contract and we would approve.
Understood.
Yes. Okay. Do I have any suggestions for council representatives? Would you be?
Yeah, fine. Not good.
Councilor Rust? Would anyone else like to join? Councilor DeForest. No, you keep volunteering other people.
That's what
Counselor
he
Webb.
does.
I am happy to help, but I am more than happy to make space for other people.
Yeah, I can help.
Okay, I have Counselor Warrington and Counselor Rustin have raised their hands as council representatives. Let me go check to see my motion that I wrote down. So this is just a proposal to see if it's consistent with the group. The council authorizes, let's see here, the council authorizes two appointees, Counselor Rustin and Counselor Warrington, to provide support to our city attorney in negotiations with all program. Does that sound like a reasonable motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, second.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any discussion you guys would like to have?
Do we need any clarity on the timeline? Because we're on a very short timeline. As long as we understand it, I don't think it has to be in the motion, but your last day
Yeah.
is what?
If I may, I would like to plan a special meeting on August 26th. We can take care of that after your motion is off the floor, but I think Barry Elsner should be able to negotiate with that subcommittee.
August 26th.
Yes,
So we could finalize everything there. And the hope is that if we successfully do this, the person would start, what would be their first day?
both candidates said they were available September 1st. I asked them. So
Okay.
that would be my goal as well.
Do we know your last day?
I put the 25th, but it's about the hours I'm capped at a certain amount. So I can stall the hours to make sure I'm here to welcome the new person on board.
I'm just bringing that up because one of the big things is trying to avoid a gap.
Right. So that leaves us next week. I'm working probably a couple of days from home and a couple of days.
So September 1st is the day after the holiday.
I know it's the holidays on the 7th.
Oh, I'm a week off. You're right. Got it.
Maybe you can take a Monday off,
Okay.
figure it
Okay.
out.
Is there any more discussion you guys would like to have on the motion? Okay, hearing no discussion. Let's bring it for a vote. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Mr. Schultz.
If I may, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
all for a good job. I think it went well, got a good candidate. I would like to propose a special meeting on August 26th. I think that's a Wednesday. I don't know. Give me a second, I'll make sure I'm telling everybody to trust me.
August 26th is a Wednesday.
On the night of August 26th, if we can get Barry Elsner to get that negotiation done by that time.
It's next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. For you to review that and either vote on it or approve it or not approve. So that's okay.
Does that work for the council team?
Run it at 6 o'clock and we'll get it properly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you need from us?
Mr. Jones. Colleen, anything down there for city recordings?
It's fine.
Staff's good.
Awesome.
Okay. I think I'm going to adjourn the meeting. So the North Plains City Council meeting is now adjourned August 20th, 7:48 PM.
Thank you.